It just took something out of my heart that will never be replaced.
How am I going to tell my 6-year-old little girl about this? I just didn't want to believe it.
We all need to get serious and come together, all communities, in order to get this stuff under control.
Help Arkansas
Declare victory
Over violence.
KRK is kicking off another challenge. Many of us see or witness a daily battle in Central Arkansas, a matchup to overcome violence. And we have a choice here. We can sit back and wonder how to change it, or we can do something about it. There are plenty of winners out there already doing their part to make where we live a better place, but we want to take it a step further. And we want to help you help your community.
We will not be given to violence. We will not be given to war.
So I know the struggles that these kids have been going through.
Tim says the need for mentors is ever growing and required to reduce the number of youth bouncing out of bounds and into violence.
I want a mentor because I want people to help me with my communication.
Teaches me a lot of stuff, like what to do right.
The way you can really help solve some of the problems that we deal with in our community is getting involved in people's lives.
What an impact you can make by signing up to be a mentor. 1 hour a week can make a huge difference in a child's life.
We've had over 100 people sign up for mentoring.
There's a huge need, and I wanted to do something more with it, so I thought about a job fair.
Around 700 job seekers showed up to the 6-hour event.
I was brought up in a home of pain. I was brought up in a home of violence.
It's the people around that give when they might not even have directly involved with the situation.
Community members and city leaders meet tonight brainstorming ideas on how to make neighborhoods safer.
Every seat in the room was taken. People gave these passionate pleas, we can't just be sitting in a room like this. We have to go to these communities, literally knock on doors, get people out of their homes.
And that's exactly why these folks are out here today. They realize that crime can't be ignored, and it's got to be something that's got to be pushed back, even if it's just one step at a time.
Let's go! I want to be a part of any group that's working toward ending it.
I want to see things change. I want to see it change for the better.
Victory! All right!
But KARK Fox deserves a huge recognition for what they are attempting to do. They are attempting to move us from a very comfortable and familiar place, which is meeting, which we're experts at, and get from meeting to actually taking action and doing something about the things that concern us.
We saw 25 people get shot at a nightclub earlier this month. There have been multiple murders again this week. How are you getting involved to try to push back on that?
Thanks, Drew, and I appreciate Channel 4 and Fox 16's personal engagement on the community conversation about this.
And they could have very easily been here like most media outlets do. You come, you report, you do your soundbite, and then you move on. Well, some folks there actually wanted to get involved about some of the things they were seeing. And I've been in law enforcement for 25 years, and I've never seen a media outlet take this kind of step to get involved.
Victory!
Fox.
Victory over violence!
So we met, we marched, we talked, and now it's time to get to work.
But this Saturday, Victory Over Violence took a different route to talk about an even louder movement.
Embracing communities neighborhood by neighborhood and saying, let's reject violence, let's give kids hope.
Congressman French Hill helped explain the 10 community-based goals announced at the news conference Saturday.
Read to kids in school, Keith Jackson after-school program, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Boys and Girls Club. But now they're all collaborating, focusing on where we need the mentorship and the help the most.
100 groups coming together to focus on 10 goals to fight violence without guns in Central Arkansas.
So not law enforcement, but what can ordinary citizens do?
Goals include mentor match, to faith in action, to pushing out not just the words, but the message, victory over violence.
We're hosting a day of service for National Night Out.
10 hours, 120 volunteers.
That's volunteerar.org, September 21st. Second Chance Job Fair.
These announcements and even more events planned and programs show ideas turning into actions.
10 groups working to help our kids see hope in the future and stay away from violence.
The 10 small groups will focus on bringing each goal to life, but it's a community effort to help save every life.
We're asking you to do 1 hour a week. 1 hour a week is all we need. So that's 4 hours a month. You can knock that out in one day. So this is something that's exciting. It's something exciting for the city, and it's also what a lot of people have been asking for. What can we do to help our kids in our city? And this is one thing we can do, is mentor a child.
From shooting hoops,
I like to hang out with my friends and play basketball,
to playing foosball. You'll find 11-year-old Martarius Tony at Pinnock Boys and Girls Club having fun and always looking out for others.
If I see somebody get hit upside the head with a basketball or fall or cut their knee, if I'm around, then I'll try and see if they're okay, if they need a Band-Aid or not, see if they can walk it out or do they need serious help.
Since Martarius was young, he's always listening for sirens and hoping to help.
I want to be an emergency medical technician.
It's a career dedicated to serving others.
Just want to get in and do my job and save lives.
It will be a few years until Martarius can be an EMT. In the meantime, he's looking for a mentor.
If you have a helping hand when you're a child, then it really shapes your future and it really helps you out in the real world.
He says every kid needs a mentor to help avoid problems later in life.
Most people, they don't get the attention that they need as a child. So when they grow up, they start doing bad things.
A 6th grader with a big heart.
Be the one that helps those people.
And a passion to change lives. In Little Rock, I'm Mallory Brooks.
We understand the importance of mentoring, the importance of having role models.
City Manager Bruce Moore is so passionate about seeing change in Little Rock, he allows employees to volunteer on the clock.
It allows for employees up to 52 hours to focus on their volunteer activities.
Giving city workers 1 paid hour a week to give back. And with the rise in violence lately, Mayor Mark Stodola is encouraging people to use that time to mentor a child in the community.
We know so many of our kids are growing up in single-family households, and sometimes their mothers or fathers are having to work 3 or 4 jobs, and so we know that there's a need, so we try to fill that gap.
The program has been so successful.
In fact, one of the employees in the city manager's office, Susan Langley, was just named the Volunteer of the Year for the Little Rock School District.
His goal is to see every employee in the city giving back.
We have 2,500 full and part-time employees, and if every employee did that, just think about the difference it would make.
Whether it's mentoring or helping a nonprofit, it's an opportunity to make a huge impact and see positive change in the capital city. In Little Rock, I'm Mallory Brooks.
Braylon Jackson has seen his fair share of crime in his Little Rock neighborhood, but instead of sitting back and watching it, he's stepping up and hoping more people join him.
2 or 3 more times, yeah.
Braylon Jackson is just one of several mentors.
Go, lay it up. Hey!
Spending his Saturday playing basketball with kids in his community.
Kind of see a lot of misguided youth. You know, maybe we need to get a little more positivity in the neighborhood.
Living in Little Rock for 25 years, he says he's doing his part to stop the violence he sees on the streets.
I'm 25 years old, so young men between the ages of, maybe 5, 6 on up, you know, mentoring them and trying to teach them the right thing.
Jackson tells me he was inside Power Ultra Lounge earlier this month when shots rang out. He says he also lost a friend to violence just last year. He hits the court with these kids to help coach them in the right direction.
Look for a positive role model. Someone that can lead them down the right path and show them the right way.
Arkansas Stop the Violence and local church leaders hope more mentors support Little Rock youth.
And they start to drift away and participating in things that will cause them to go down their own path. And so we want to encourage them.
Oh, take your time, though.
Now Jackson says he's hoping to spread positivity he hopes to see in his community.
I believe it needs to stop, you know, because too many young people losing their lives, you know. We got to set an example.
Until I am small, people just pick on me. People was pushing me down, and he was punching me in the stomach, and I need someone to stop that.
I want a mentor because help me with my homework, talk about sports.
I'm kind of shy, so it's kind of hard like talking and joining groups and clubs.
To help me with like life problems maybe. Something wrong that happened to you. Something deep that you can't tell anybody.
He hits the court with these kids to help coach them in the right direction.
Look for a positive role model.
He says every kid needs a mentor to help avoid problems later in life.
Most people, they don't get the attention that they need as a child.
A mentor could help me get out there more and voice my opinion more.
She's one of the many teens hoping to find a mentor this school year. Tamara wants to see change. She's signing up to be a mentor, hoping to help young people have a bright future.
Just showing them, you know, that their potential is unlimited.
One of the things he wrote in a little letter to me, it was like, thanks, Tim, for teaching me to be a leader rather than a follower.
I'm closer to their age. I can relate to them. I can sit down, hey, you can tell me.
You have to go out to these kids and be vocal and be vigilant and be visible.
It's all about suiting up and showing up, not just speaking it, come do it.
If you have a helping hand when you're a child, then it really shapes your future and it really helps you out in the real world.
For 9 years, Keith Jackson was catching touchdowns in the National Football League. He retired after a Super Bowl title in 1997, and nowadays you might find him teaching Bible studies, as Keith has a big heart for his hometown. It was in the early 90s that he founded Positive Atmosphere Reaches Kids, or PARC.
We give them something to look forward to, we give them hope, and we see that hope becoming life.
For more than 20 years, Keith and his staff have been helping kids through this after-school program designed to ensure graduation.
We give them hope day one. When they walk through the door, we start talking about what college you're going to go to.
But PARC is much more than tutoring. There's also a full gymnasium on site.
You have to realize you are a spirit, you have a soul, and you live in a body. So you got to do the body stuff, and you've got to do the mental stuff, and you've got to do the spiritual stuff. I think that you got to do it all so you can create this holistic approach to change. And if we can create that, then we create a successful individual.
Success, Keith hopes, is a solution to the crime on the streets of Little Rock.
It's just a very disheartening feeling that you get, that people are losing their lives all around you. We see that PARC is a beacon of hope.
Turning pro in giving back. Keith Jackson and PARC are making a difference every day in the lives of Little Rock students. With this Searching for Solutions story, I'm Aaron Nolan.
Here we go. I've realized that nothing makes me feel better when I'm in a funk than getting my body moving.
This may look like a normal workout class for women, but in fact, it's quite unique.
People need an outlet for whatever you got going on.
Got some good sweat going on.
This is a 30-minute class where victims of domestic violence and abuse work out.
I love that this is a place to come, to be surrounded by other people who understand, and where I can come and feel strong both mentally and physically.
Jake Snowden is the creator of B3 Boot Camp.
He pushes us in a supportive way. He motivates and encourages you to want to keep going even when your body might be screaming for you to stop. 3, 2, 1.
In this boot camp, it's more than just physical strength. It's the combination of body and mind.
You always hear about the physical and mental working together, and I really believe that you can't have one without the other.
The class is made possible by Women's Own Worth, who covers the cost for any victim needing a lift.
And they see phenomenal results. They're losing weight. They're getting stronger. It's awesome. So awesome.
Their own worth is something they're having to rebuild within themselves. And coming to a class like this helps to not only build their physical body, but it also helps them to know that they're not alone.
Pushing, pulling, and lifting are all possible solutions for women looking to overcome violence and abuse. 2 days a week, you'll find people here at Hope Ministry Alliance, working, packing, and giving to meet the needs of others.
This time of year seems like we get a few more people than we do the rest of the year.
Each and every week, a lot is given away. Last year, Hope Ministry served more than 6,000 people.
We have a great group of volunteers. We're just glad we can do what we do. But we do our best.
With the help of area businesses and the Arkansas Food Bank, these walls are stocked and ready, maybe for those who wouldn't eat any other way.
It's a sobering thought, and it's very true, because we have people that come and say, well, I don't have anything. I'm out of food.
While officially only open a couple of days a week, Jim Dixon points out these volunteers will never turn away anyone. He recalls a woman walking up while he and his wife were just cleaning up.
Just got laid off from her job, had no food. We gave her enough food for her to get through the weekend and then come back on Monday when we're open. Makes you feel good that you can help people like that.
Hope Ministry Alliance, hoping to make the stats a thing of the past, one box of food at a time.
Basically what this place is like one big yard sale, you know?
From lamps to movies to clothes to dinner plates, this Saline County thrift store has a lot, including a mission that goes beyond the sale.
I see a bunch of stuff in here that'll accumulate dollars and nickels and dimes that'll go towards helping other people.
Helping Hands and Caring Hearts owner Bonnie Johnson has a passion for giving back.
The girls are important to me. It's personal. We try to help everybody.
Over the last 13 years, she's given away clothes, shoes, and furniture to folks who need them. But her heart is with people who've made a big mistake. The majority of her employees are in drug court, on parole, or have been in prison.
Most people aren't going to be very understanding when they say, I gotta go take a drug test. That's not going to happen. But that's one of the things we do here. I understand they have to leave. I understand they have to be at meetings. I understand.
It's an understanding that might have started with her son.
Oh, Mom, I love you. In '93, I caught a murder charge. I was acquitted of my murder charge and went down on lesser charges.
James Gross has spent a lot of time behind bars, but with a renewed faith and a strong mother, he's changing.
Statistically, I shouldn't be here. You know what I mean? I should be incarcerated. I should be doing a life sentence. That's how I know God has got something for me.
And He is my success story. I've seen it.
A thrift store in Saline County is offering more than a discount. It's offering solutions.
And they said I couldn't do it, but 13 years in April says I can.
In Benton, I'm Aaron Nolan.
Life's good.
This is Thomas Lumley. For about a year and a half, he was homeless in Little Rock, living on the streets or in shelters.
Finally, one day, just made up my mind it was time for a change.
Early last year, he found a place to call his own.
It would have been hard without him.
But it was less than a home, so he found someone to help him settle in.
The day I moved in, I didn't have anything. 2 days later, the apartment was furnished.
Lumley met Stephanie Byers and her new program called Settled Souls.
We help settle them with a firmer foundation of belongings and a soft place to lay their head and furnish their kitchen, furnish their bathroom, give them everything that they would need in their apartment day one.
Byers saw a gap in help for homeless people looking to transition into housing.
It provides the security to the individual that's getting off the streets or out of the shelter or out of a camp.
Settled Souls has helped fully or partly furnish more than 24 apartments. And for Lumley, these decorations made all the difference in the world.
I'd probably still be on the street somewhere else because you look for a change, and sometimes when it doesn't, you have a tendency to run.
Settled Souls is searching for solutions by turning rooms into homes.
Pretty day, sunny sky,
The freedom, the fun, the excitement of seeing the world on two wheels.
It all seems so
Growing up, it's something many of us may have taken for granted.
If kids don't get a chance to experience that, then it's huge.
There's a group in North Little Rock that's searching for solutions with chain wheels and handlebars.
We take donated bicycles and we, through volunteer work, fix them up and then we give them away.
Recycle Bikes for Kids got its start in 2008.
I just think that it is a beautiful thing.
The first year, 300 bikes were given away. This year, that total could be 5 times that, 1,500 bikes hitting the streets in Pulaski County.
And these are kids that have been told over and over again, we can't afford a bike, we can't afford a bike. And then we take them into our ready room where there's bikes ready and we say, hey, choose a bike you want.
Everything done here is a donation, from the bikes to the labor to fix broken parts to the gift itself.
There's no transactions here. People just come up. If we have a bike that fits them, they leave with it.
A positive spin for children.
And a lot of them can't believe it. And I think that seeing that, 1,500 times a year is well worth it.
Recycle Bikes for Kids is no doubt a bright spot in Central Arkansas.
Come on, Mama. Fall in place. There you go. We're going to give snack.
Each weekday, Alfreda Blackwell gets to do something she loves.
We want white chocolate.
Fueling hungry kiddos.
After school, we serve a snack. We have supper.
This is the at-risk feeding program at Moody Chapel. It's much more than a place for a good meal. Blackwell says they're a support system for these young minds.
We have about 70 children that we feed daily right now in our at-risk program.
On top of the feeding program, they have Team Power, an academic enrichment program.
We also teach cooking, sewing, music. It's a lot. Anything that you really can get from home that to make basic life, that's what we do.
Blackwell is here almost daily to help these kids.
We want to be that support that they need, to give anything as far as emotional support, as far as clothing, anything that we can give, we're here. And it starts with the food.
For what she does for the youth.
Congratulations on receiving the Difference Maker Award.
The program is the latest organization selected by the community to receive the Difference Maker Award.
Rainwater Holton Sexton wants to present you a $1,000 check with our thanks for being a difference maker. Sometimes it takes a whole community in order to raise one kid, so we're pulling the children to us.
Giving these kids everything they need, from a basic snack to a bright future. In Little Rock, I'm Stephanie Sharp.
Past couple of weeks, we haven't been having really anything happening, which is good.
Walter Cochran is no stranger to hitting the street, spreading what's preached inside the church to young people in need.
We have a group called the Distinguished Young Men. We have a mentoring group.
And that's exactly what other local churches in Little Rock hope to do too. On Saturday, many stepped up to join nearly 100 community-based groups committed to victory over violence.
Sharing many opportunities for churches to get involved in mentoring programs and service opportunities and partnerships with organizations throughout the city that give us a chance to put our faith into greater action.
A prayer rally will also take place next month.
We have to go out to them, because if they're not coming to the church, we have to go to them. And that's what the Bible tells us to do. It tells us to go.
Cochran hoping the message gets to the people who may fall victim to crime.
He has to keep them off the streets. And when they show them love, the kids give love back.
Prayers for peace. Inside War Memorial Monday night, as hundreds fill the stadium. Many, like Samantha Susaida, came out to pray for change.
I think that we have a serious issue with violence.
Lord, I pray your anointing on them.
Different churches with one mission.
I really believe that prayer is effective.
One thing that I want to see is kids not being afraid to go to their pastor or to go to their church.
Faith requires action.
Faith leaders in the community coming together.
Find solutions for a number of the problems that we experience in our city.
Joined hands.
I want to see us come together.
Hoping the church and community work together and spark change.
Lord, we pray against crime in the name of Jesus.
They come in different names, sizes, and colors you're familiar with.
I built the signs for the interstate.
Hard work 26-year-old Jordan Jones takes pride in. Previous work in his life came with harsh consequences.
I was young. It was just the environment I was in.
Jordan served 4 years in prison for selling drugs, a reality he didn't want, and one that encouraged him to make better choices.
Everyone is not out to just keep doing wrong. Some people learn from their mistakes.
Jordan says he's changed with the help of Goodwill's 16-week reentry program. It's geared at helping newly released inmates find jobs.
He's just got a great attitude. He's ready to get out there and work.
Jordan is one of 6 former felons who work at Interstate Signways. Karen Mims says the company wants to make an impact and help people like Jordan turn his life around.
When you're an employer, you never know who you're really hiring until they've been with you for a while. And the guys that come out of prison that have gone through these programs, they're motivated.
What's motivated Jordan this second time around is freedom and his newborn daughter.
Is my decision going to take me from her if I make the wrong decision?
A wrong decision is what landed Jordan in prison in the first place. He says it didn't have to be that way.
You weren't born selling drugs, so you had opportunity before you led to that. Some people have never even tried.
This is what trying looks like for Jordan. A job, a second chance. He's not taking for granted. In Little Rock, I'm Suzanne Bruner.
Thanks for calling Wingate by Wyndham. This is Jimmy. May I help you?
The first call or face-to-face greeting, one of the most important jobs at the Wingate Hotel.
Okay. What would be your arrival date?
It was also one of the most important trials of Jimmy Howard's life, a chance to prove himself.
If I come and work hard and show that I really want this job and show my work ethics and show that, you know, I can do this work, then I got a job.
Nearly half of his life spent behind something other than this front desk.
I started selling drugs, you know, and got caught up in a federal investigation and received 20 years.
Jimmy served 17.5 years in prison. Goodwill recruited Jimmy to be a part of its TEO program, a 16-week job training course helping those formerly incarcerated. Jimmy learned how to use a smartphone, computer, and software programs. Jimmy graduated from the program and gave an inspiring speech. His new boss was there to see it all.
So Jimmy is pride and joy.
Even 2 years later, Wingate General Manager Phyllis Klosky said it took communication and trust to make this possible.
I had a few times where I wondered, did I make the right decisions? I just relied on goodwill.
The pool is open. Our pool open from 8 to 10. It was a great feeling to knowing that, you know, that someone thought that I was, you know, deserving of a second chance.
An even better feeling, people don't look at him as a felon, rather a front desk representative, a title he proudly holds.
You are very welcome. Thanks for calling Wingate.
Jimmy is proof it can happen, and you can be the difference. In Little Rock, I'm Suzanne Bruner.
I just made a lot of mistakes in the past, and it's kind of still haunting me.
Mackenzie Piggy wants to break a vicious cycle.
I hope to find a job.
He's a felon who has done prison time and paid his debt to society. Now he's looking to better himself. That's why programs like this one can make such a difference.
It's hard to find employers that do hire felons, so it's just word of mouth, so it can be discouraging. So
for TJ Harris, it's getting around that inevitable roadblock.
I kept running into closed doors, you know, or I would get a second interview and feel like the ball was rolling and it was pretty promising, and then there come the background and it would be no after that.
The candidates were coached on job readiness skills, how to interview, and even to understand their charges. Thursday, they sat down with employers.
When you help them, you help change things for their kids and for the entire family, which ultimately changes our community.
Both McKinsey and Harris say they're very different people today than at the time of their convictions.
This gives them a second chance to come in and show that they're capable of doing the job and show that they've made a mistake and they know they made a mistake and they're moving forward with their life.
The future Brian Silva wants is just within reach.
When you're so used to doing the same thing, when you've been doing the same thing for so long, it's like a cycle, so it's hard to break.
If he can only leave his past behind.
My daddy was a gangbanger. My uncle was a gangbanger. So when my daddy went to prison, that's all I had left was the memories of gangbanging, selling drugs, and living the street life.
30-year-old Brian, a product of the 1990s gang war era that swept through Arkansas's capital city. Battles over drug-dealing territory created brotherhoods and deadly bonds.
My brothers and I had my daddy homeboys, which was like, come on. They didn't say, well, come on, get in this truck, I'm gonna make sure you go to school. They come on to the hood.
Brian's one of the former gangbangers trying to resist returning to an old way of life that led to multiple stints in prison and loss that hit close to home.
I done been there. I lost two of my brothers, Alex Ward and Ladarius Galbert, to this gang stuff, to this street stuff. That's why I'm so ready to help the ones that is coming up under me.
He's one of the allies this street crew of former criminals has turned away from Little Rock's corners.
These youngsters, they want to break the cycle of violence. This is the Bloods neighborhood over here.
This street crew has collectively served more than 100 years in prison.
We know what these youngsters are going to. They don't know what they're going to.
All this talk about crime in Little Rock because the type of violence that put this small southern city in the Bible Belt on the national map in the 90s has resurfaced. In late 2016, 2 toddlers gunned down. And in 2017, there have been nearly 4 dozen homicides, putting the city on track for its highest homicide rate since 1993. And among the innocent victims, a daycare worker killed in front of kids, a rash of drive-bys, hundreds of shot-fired calls.
A total of 28 people injured in some way from this.
And a mass shooting tied to gang feuds that left 28 injured. It's all pushed the city to acknowledge a need for action.
No, we cannot arrest our way out of this problem.
The street crew is part of the Little Rock mayor's 6-point crime plan. It mirrors a national program that has seen success elsewhere, but some criticize the effort because unlike the national ceasefire programs, Little Rock has foregone outside help and input, aiming to essentially repackage old services to start a new day.
If we had about 100 jobs, we could end this recent uptick in violence right now. Because the people that we have out here that's really creating the violence, it's not that many. We're not Chicago. We're Little Rock.
In the middle of the effort to curb this new wave of crime, some can't help pointing out this is simply a cycle, an issue metro areas across the country are confronting, but one Little Rock is all too familiar with.
We've dealt with this before. We made this change. So that's one thing, us being in a state of denial.
Drive-by shooting every 20, 30 minutes.
Lavelle Jackson is an OG, or original gangster, who brought the Crips from California to the capital city in the late 80s. He was indicted in '94 and released from the federal pen roughly 10 years later.
I'm denouncing the violence openly.
Like the street crew's former criminals, he experienced a transformation behind bars and has been trying to combat the call of a lifestyle that draws young people in, but rarely lets them go.
I tell them, once you pull the trigger, your whole family pull the trigger. And whoever you shoot and kill, you shoot and kill their whole family.
One thing Jackson and others say hasn't transformed is the systemic power of poverty and lack of opportunity in these majority black communities south of Interstate 630. With a city so small, the divide is incredibly stark.
We're gonna have to come out of these places where we stay and really go into these neighborhoods. And once you see it, you can deal with it.
We arrest children of people now that I arrested back in the early 90s, when now their children are getting arrested and their grandkids are getting arrested. So it's generational. They were born into this environment and they grew up in this environment. That's all they've ever really known.
Working to improve your neighborhood. That sign been on there for 4-5 years.
Despite city leaders' recognition of disenfranchisement, a lack of resources, and a need to change approaches,
ain't nobody been down here to do nothing.
All anyone, even change makers here, can point to
faith in the city of Little Rock.
is the deep-seated feeling these neighborhoods have been and remain forgotten. Promises of change ring hollow to some who have seen a continued decline for 2 decades.
Deterioration took place over a period of time. But the only way we're going to get out of this condition is we're going to be able to help ourselves.
That's where the street crew returns to beat the drum of training, education, and jobs. A plea for the city to help them help themselves by putting resources in place instead of promises.
That'll take them off the streets. That'll take them away from there because, man, I'm making $16 an hour. My check last week was $600. And I didn't get shot here trying to make it.
Men like Brian Silva are willing to turn the tide. They all bear scars of their time on the streets.
I've been shot 3 times. I done been through more than a little bit.
I swear.
Do I want to continue to go through it? No. Nope.
But to leave that behind and recruit others, there has to be a path to a new way of living life in their corner of Little Rock.
Oh!
Walking in to a hard conversation is the first step to understanding the problem.
I can't put my hand on this.
At Philander Smith College, a room with seats filled by someone who's willing to listen.
Everyone in this city is responsible to everyone else in this city.
Little Rock Police Chief Kenton Buckner and several others joining in on Thursday night's Huffington Post Town Hall talking about overcoming gang violence.
But it's just been kind of a storm of things.
Senator Joyce Elliott says it all starts at giving children a solid foundation.
Not educating our kids to get them out of the neighborhood, but fixing neighborhoods so they want to stay in their neighborhoods and they see possibilities there.
There are so many kids who do not have the system that they need in place to get to their desired destinations.
Chief Buckner says some recent violence is being committed by people who've already had run-ins with police.
When people don't have anything to lose, taking someone's life doesn't really mean anything if you don't care about your own life.
It may be a difficult discussion.
A gun is of lethal consequence. There's no coming back after the trigger's pulled oftentimes.
But it's the first step that counts to figuring out how to fix the problem.
Gang banging, selling drugs,
drive-by shooting every 20,
living the street life.
We dealt with this before.
Putting the city on track for its highest homicide rate since 1993.
They were born into this environment and they grew up in this environment.
But the only way we're going to get out of this condition is we're going to be able to help ourselves.
Victor over violence in these Little Rock streets. The kids can't play and the grown can't chill. People getting killed, things that got too real. It's time to drop the guns and have some fun for real. Victor over violence in these Little Rock streets.
Happy Friday. I'm Marcy Manley, and thanks for joining us on Facebook Live. You're tuning into our special web series we're calling Capital City in Crisis. It's all about the surge in violent crime we've been experiencing here in Little Rock. We're exploring the reasons behind it and those working to fix it. That includes the city of Little Rock's interveners. Their boss calls them the Miracle Team, ex-convicts trying to turn things around on the streets. And this is a look at the battle they fight through their eyes and in their own words.
We go to any street corner in Little Rock to try to stem the violence. And we know we can't stop it, but we try to help it to resolve as much as we can.
I'm from this neighborhood. My sister stayed right here on 23rd and Madison. Yeah. My mama stayed on 27th and Madison. So this is my neighborhood, and I brought them over here to see how economically this neighborhood is ruined. Yeah. It's going to take some money to build it back up, man, and build these houses back up, because people just done tore them down and moved on. Yeah, and it's an eyesore.
If we run up on some individuals and they squabbling and having an argument, then it's our job. This is our job now, as individual street outreach people, is to interfere with this situation and try to talk to these individuals, because we know that it would lead to something far more serious.
Each tick of the new year is a second Maxine White prays will bring her closer to getting justice for her son.
It's just like a shed up bone of fire and grief and suffering and pain and acne. It's just irritating.
Early New Year's Day 2016, Little Rock police found White's 32-year-old son, Terry Jones, shot inside his car near Bragg and 22nd Street.
I didn't want to believe that, I just wanted to get there and, and hold his hand and, and tell him it's going to be all right.
Her son, who was an Army vet, truck driver, and father, passed away shortly before she reached the hospital.
This is the worst blow I ever had experienced in my life.
A man was arrested a few months after Jones's murder, but prosecutors dropped the charges after witnesses recanted their story.
It's not no doubt in my mind, the person that took my son's life.
Her family recently put this billboard up near Roosevelt and Interstate 530, reminding people who see it that Jones's murder is unsolved, asking anyone with information for help.
Those out there that know, the person that did it.
For now, she gets by being a grandmother to Jones's only child, 4-year-old Treasure.
I love her with all my heart.
Holding on to hope that one day she'll truly celebrate a new year, knowing justice has been served.
I know it's going to come to pass. I don't know when or how, but I know that God is able.
Imagine a spring morning with nothing alarming to look for, interrupted by knocks at a door. A picture and a question, is this your son?
And I told him yes. Fred was coming to my house like 6 o'clock in the morning. The only thing I know is what they told me. What the detectives told me, that he was killed on 2300 block on Wright Avenue. And he died by himself alone on the side of a road.
Told there was a shot at a distant range. A bullet felt before he heard the bang.
He didn't even have time to holler help. Because they said the way that bullet went into his head, he was instantly dead.
His body made a bed of the asphalt, dirt, and grain. He was left with his money, jewels, and chains. She was left with an unnatural mother's pain.
You don't get over something like that. It hurts you all over. And you don't miss, it's not a day go by that you don't think about it.
No evidence from the incident, just empty-handed, just a foul collecting dust, taking space. An unsolved crime, a cold case.
March the 13th, 2006.
Still waiting for answers to the 8th.
I've been waiting all these years. That's 11 years. I hope they find the killer before I leave here, before my time is up, and I can find out who it is, and I just want to ask them why. What did Fred do to you so bad that you wanted to kill him? Why?
What we're going to do tonight is just spend a few minutes on how to get through the holidays.
It's that time of the year again.
Try to put on a happy, smiling face for them.
When tears of pain can wash away holiday joy.
And I miss him so much.
This Christmas will be Rebecca Ron's first without her fiance, Lauren Poole Jr.
It's hard to lose somebody you love so dearly, to watch them die in your face.
Rebecca says Poole was shot and killed in October by their neighbor. After the couple got into an argument, Rebecca was left with a bruised eye.
Waking up and not seeing him on Christmas Day.
Tuesday night.
There's that empty chair at the table, and you always see it.
Rebecca went to the Parents of Murdered Children meeting.
You're still going to miss them just as bad.
To get advice on how to face the holidays head on.
It doesn't seem right to carry on those family traditions, and sometimes it's kind of hard to carry on those family traditions, so we say create new ones.
There's somebody that can understand me.
This is something Rebecca has never gone through before.
I don't even want to be here. But I'm stuck, and he left me here.
And after Christmas comes and goes, she'll still be left with a broken heart.
Wouldn't even let me say goodbye. Maybe I could do it now. Bye, baby.
One word to describe 2017.
A tragedy.
Anger.
It's just been a roller coaster.
Loretta, Jessica, and Kenneth Lewis lost their loved one, Danny, earlier this year.
And the people I'm talking about, these young boys is 15 years old.
These some teenagers.
Charmaine Cook Johnson and her husband Herbert Johnson also searching for answers in the death of their family member Troy Langston. Charmaine's brother was killed in February.
Do you think people in the neighborhood know?
Yeah, someone knows something.
When you kind of have those people in your own community and neighborhood, you know, it is kind of a slap in the face.
When you don't get answers, you feel like nobody else cares.
Are you guys scared for the holidays coming up?
A little bit.
I have definitely thought about, having Thanksgiving without my brother. They have come across my mind, and so, like, I'm mentally preparing myself for that absence.
We barely have, like, the holiday spirit anymore.
What are you guys hoping for?
Whoever did this, whoever had the audacity to take two lovely people to come forward, I want them to have a conscience. And I want them to give both of these families closure.
I just need to see and know, like, who are you?
Charmaine's 2018 wish list is justice for her brother, but she and the other family want Little Rock Police to change the way the department operates.
I would like for the homicide division to communicate with me a little bit better. Well, a whole lot better, to be honest with you.
You kind of have to be like your own detective.
Finding hope for 2018 is something these families are building within themselves.
I don't care. I don't even want to go out. I don't even leave my house.
They're also finding strength from each other, not even realizing the former high school friends were dealing with the same pain.
Did you guys realize what you guys had been through before you got here, like to the TV station?
I had no idea that she was a victim of the same crime as well.
The strength of a neighborhood is shown while kids dance in the rain.
Devotion, love of your community.
National Night Out turned into a big puddle of fun Tuesday night for the West Central John Barrow neighborhoods.
In spite of all that, we still had a great time.
You got to keep hope alive.
Phil Lewis lives in the neighborhood and says coming out, despite the weather, proves victory over violence.
They're trying to make a statement. Your situation down there in Vegas, Chicago, all over the place, you got to stop all this.
It rained, National Night Out, it poured.
Ruby Dean organized the event at the West Central Complex. She says people in this area are ready to see violence end in their backyard.
The neighborhood is concerned, and they take pride in their neighborhood, and the National Night Out is a passion for them.
The rain may have put a slight damper on plans.
We got to bring the world ready for the next generation.
But thanks to it, a powerful message of hope by the people showing up.
This is what's called Southern hospitality.
Inside her Tennessee food truck, Connie Woolridge tries to keep up.
Can't put in words how many orders that have gone out of my truck. It's been great.
There you go. Thank you. While outside on Main Street, the heart of Little Rock shows in the heart of the city.
Ultimately, we can't be scared.
Have to get over it, you know? Just have to get over it and carry on.
The reality of it is, I really wanted to come.
The community making it clear, violence won't stop them from enjoying their city.
Been walking around, eating, laughing, talking. It's just been amazing.
I love it. I love crowds.
Tens of thousands of people showed up to Main Street's Food Truck Festival Saturday.
It's only going to help us get past the things that have been happening. And so I think that's what we witnessed here today.
Families checking out nearly 70 food trucks, just blocks away from where a mass shooting happened just 3 months ago.
Little Rock spirit.
An Arkansas spirit of unity and resilience, this Tennessee food truck owner gets to see.
One of the picture frames.
At the weekly University District Farmers Market in Little Rock, young kids with the University of Arkansas Little Rock Children International's Mind Your Own Business Summer Camp are on a mission. Selling homemade items like picture frames made of puzzle pieces, gift cards, and beads.
I'm overwhelmed. Have you seen their products? Oh my God, they're off the chain.
Camp organizer Paula Rogers says the money raised will go towards anti-violence campaign Victory Over Violence.
And victory over violence is one of the concerns in our community, and so it was just a natural fit for this camp.
Unfortunately, some of the young entrepreneurs like Jermaine Penny say violence is mostly all they see in their neighborhoods.
Kids shouldn't be around people that's gonna be nonsense and stuff.
But the 10-year-old says his mother's advice helps to keep him on the right track.
Always tell me, You be at the wrong place at the wrong time, something will happen.
Ariana Caffey says her parents always give her 5 simple words about crime in her Southwest Little Rock neighborhood.
It's gonna be all right.
And Rogers says that's what the camp is all about.
Empowering our youth. That's what we're doing. I mean, that's what helping them be financially and socially literate is to help empower them and to raise them from whatever situations that they're in.
Victory! Victory! Over violence! Over violence! Let's go!
I came out today because I just feel like it's important to support the community that you live in. I think in order to be able to make a difference, you have to come out and support and encourage others to make a difference.
Victory! Victory! Yes, thank you.
All right now, all right.
I think the turnout has been great today. I was at the first Victory Over Violence walk, and I think it's probably 2 or 3 times bigger than what it was the last go around.
It's important, young men, to make the positive decisions.
Yes, sir.
This is a beautiful society, but the things that are destruction, you do not need to join that.
Keep on turning, 'cause it won't be too long.
We were selling our products, so it was like kindergarten made a product. It was like all the grades to 4th grade made a product.
You
guys took those beads and calendars and y'all sold them and y'all made $1,000? Wow. Hey, why did you guys do that?
Because we wanted to help Victory Over Violence. It's over violence!
Professionally, you said you are a social worker, right?
Yes.
What's the next step?
The next step is getting mentors. A lot of men are not available, and I think increasing that mentorship for males would be important. You can't sit back and continue to vent and be angry and upset, but not do anything to resolve the situation. If you call Little Rock your home, then get out and take care of your family.
It seems every night we're telling you about another murder-suicide, child death due to gunfire, body found here or there. You know why? Well, because we are every night. And from where I sit each evening, and I can speak for everyone involved in our broadcast, it gets to be too much. It does, even for us. But it's our job. And you know what? It really doesn't make a difference. It's still a lot to consume day in and day out. Following the Sandy Hook shooting 5 years ago when 20 children were murdered, I posted for viewers a pass on news consumption. Odd from a person whose job is also to try to increase the number of you out there watching this TV station. But in cases like that, and during trends that we're now seeing where we report on overnight murders, breaking news of a shooting and a search for a suspect in progress, it's okay to take a breather from it all. Take a night off. We're not going anywhere. The constant barrage of tragic information can be too much for any one person to try to absorb, comprehend, and try to correct or try to do something about it. It all got to a point for us where we decided that we needed to try and do something with our community other than just inform our community. We really wanted to get out there so we could hear from you rather than you hearing from us each night. And honest to God, that's the only motivation for Victory Over Violence, pure and simple. It gives us a chance to take a break, say hello, and ask how we can help. At the same time, we're crafting stories and programs to highlight people who are stepping up, as well as city and police initiatives working to swing the pendulum back the other way, or at least closer to the middle. It's simple. Instead of taking in all the news of the day, take a break. Sit and talk with your family, take a walk, cook dinner outside, stay out there and visit with neighbors. We'd rather you be happy enjoying your family than sitting there slack-jawed night after night trying to explain to your kids why kids are killing kids and who's going to stop it all. Give yourself some time away from it all. You've earned it. Just promise to come back. We have been put on notice. What happened at Power Ultra Lounge was a wake-up call to the city of Little Rock and the state of Arkansas. Not just the people who run it, protect and serve it, or populate it, but all of us. The who's, where's, what's, and why's will all be worked out sooner or later. It's a firm hand that must now address the how comes. We all better be ready for it. First, how come with a poster like this advertising the event in a city already dealing with random deadly gun violence, there wasn't a TSA-like checkpoint making sure guns weren't in there? Wyatt Earp figured that out in the late 1800s, no exceptions, and it worked. How come a restaurant was acting as a club? The mayor addressed that and plans to tighten policy. Shouldn't have been happening in plain sight. How come, if there was anyone out there who knew of brewing trouble and guns inside that club, didn't just say something? That's a crime. If you are out there, you bear the burden of responsibility as well. How come minors got into that club? How come minors were out at all? Moms and dads, guardians, this one's on you. No matter how bad you feel, you could be feeling a lot worse. How come Little Rock's curfew laws weren't being enforced? They're there. If doubling down on these and other issues to keep people safe and alive hurts someone's feelings, or you feel is against policy or poor political judgment, tell it to the victims or the countless other unsuspecting victims enjoying life until a stray bullet ends it. How come no one was killed? Because for whatever reason, we've been put on notice. And now we have these people with us today giving Victory Over Violence a choir of voices who say put down the guns, get civil, get right, and get along. Because by the grace of whoever you pray to, by millimeters, this city missed a mass funeral event few others have ever seen. Even after the murders of toddlers and innocents, we can't say we haven't been warned. So together, let's act.